Hello, hello. Welcome to Ram and Go to Astrology. I'm Laura Lee.
And I'm Helena. Hello.
Hello. So we're doing a chit chat today, and I have a subject I want to chat with you about because I
Ooh,
picked up
what is it?
my teenage son from camp yesterday. Okay, so he was at camp for almost 2 weeks, just shy of 2 weeks, and he's doing camp counselor training. Okay, so the first week is like counselor training, and then the second week he gets to like be a camper. So he has been going to this camp for years. Like he has been, oh man, I think he was like 7 or 8 when he started going. Now he's almost 17. So one of the things we've loved about this camp is that it just brings like lots of different kids together from all over the country and just different energies. He gets to meet lots of different cool people, right?
Mm,
The last 2 years have been a little bit more challenging for him in the fact that he's starting to really recognize how differently we live.
okay.
And I picked him up yesterday. So he gets off the bus. The bus brings him, it's about an hour and a half away, and the bus brings him to the nearest big town. And I go pick him up. And he gets off the bus and he looks very, very tired. And it's very hot out. And he walks up to me, kind of like this big mosey energy, moseying over, and he gives me a big hug. And he says, teenagers are assholes. And that was his takeaway. I was so sad, like so heartbroken that
Oh,
was his takeaway. He said, this is my takeaway from camp. Public school teenagers are assholes. And like that was, it was a very, very strong, bold Taurus statement.
yeah.
He's got his
Yeah.
Mercury conjunct Moon, conjunct Sun, all in Taurus, all in the 10th house. So he's got a very kind of fixated energy about him. And he is
Mm,
who he is, right? He's very like, this is who I am. Now, in his chart, I'm going to actually pull up his chart because I think it's important. Like, I just want to explore this with you. Because this is a situation where like you can know astrology and you can understand this, but like to actually see it play out in real life. So where I'm looking is his seventh house here. So for those of you listening, he has seventh house starts at 13 degrees Aquarius. And then he has Jupiter at 23 Aquarius, Chiron at 25 Aquarius, Neptune at 26 Aquarius. Okay, all in the seventh house. So the seventh house is where we typically look to for friends, how we interact with another person, right? So when you go to camp, when you go to school, this is like seventh house energy is when that starts to really emerge, at least in my interpretation.
mm,
And he's got Jupiter there, which is big. Okay, he's big, and Jupiter is also knowledgeable, right? I have
yeah.
lived, I have understanding, I understand that I have learned a lot about this. Now, he lives on a farm, a homestead with his family called the Aquarian Acres. Okay, so he has knowledge about Aquarius. Okay, his parents have a Venus Aquarius and his other parent has a Mars Aquarius, and they both have their Aquarius in the 10th house. So he has a lot of Aquarian information that he has lived with. Now,
Mm,
this is big and it's expansive and it's fun. He is very fun in very unique ways. He's super fun with Legos. He's super fun with certain things like movies or, he does illustrations for books. He's got a lot of excitement and fun for unique and eclectic things, not normal quote
yeah.
unquote teenager things, right? And also, Aquarius tends to be more on the friendly and accepting energy and more in the kind realm, right? Not really like mean or dig at people or cut people down. It's very open and like, oh, wow, you live that way? Cool. I live this way. You want to like do something you want to collaborate somehow, right? Like Aquarius is
Yeah.
very open. So this kid is really a very unique, stable, weird mountain. Okay. He's like this Taurus 10th house mountain, but like colored rainbow, right? He's just a very unique mountain. And he goes to camp this year and he got called all kinds of names. He got called
Oh, no.
Amish and Mennonite, which are a religious sect, a religious group that lives, very like from the earth and connected with earth and does their, bakes their own bread and like I don't know why we have to cut down Amish and Mennonite people. Like, why are teenagers cutting these groups down? Because they know how to make their own food. I'm confused. So he tells me this story on the way home, and he comes home and he tells his father this story, and like we start talking with him, and I could tell his heart was hurt. Like, this didn't feel good, right? And his mind is at 25 degrees Taurus, and Jupiter and Chiron are at 23 and 25 degrees Aquarius. So there's a strong square. And he does have a very fixated way of thinking. And the way of thinking is very 10th house energy. And he has, groups and work and responsibility to society, and understanding that we live in a society that really needs some major changes, right? It needs to be kinder, which Taurus tends to be quite kind. So he is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to kindness. Like, he really is a very caring person. And he saw and he experienced this Chiron wound and this Jupiter wound and this Neptune wound, because they're all like conjunct each other. And as soon as he was telling me this story, his chart popped in my head, and I was like, oh, like, I saw it. I saw this Chiron wound emerge from his chart, and this Jupiter Neptune conjunction in Aquarius. And it's like, your friends didn't see you coming, because they even said to him, wow, you're kind of normal for being so weird, which is such a Neptunian thing, right? Like, they didn't see him being abnormal at first, because he kind of was like, he's quiet about it, right? He doesn't like just come in and be like, hello, everybody, I'm a unique weirdo. He doesn't do that. He's more like, if you ask me questions, I'll answer them honestly, but I'm not going to just throw myself at you and tell you how my life is cool or my life is different. He doesn't do that. He waits for people to question him. And he did. He waited for people to question him, and they could not understand how he was surviving because he hadn't been vaccinated. They could not understand how how he's going to get through life. Like, they were genuinely concerned for his health and wellness, because he doesn't understand. He didn't know how to do algebra the way they can do algebra, math, like this.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I'll learn algebra when I need to learn algebra. It's not that big of a deal. Like, what is your problem with algebra? He's like, do you know how to manage your emotions?
He said that to them?
Do you know how to have emotional regulation? Or like, do you know how to make food? Do you know how to grow food?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I know he was confident in who he was. And I know he stayed steadfast in who he was. And I know his heart was hurt. Like, I could feel it, his moon is at 13 Taurus and his rising is 13 Leo. So it is a direct square with how he shows up. And he's a large human, and he shows up pretty noticeably. Like, he can't hide. There's no hiding for him, right? Most of his chart is at the top of his chart. It's, the daylight
above
sky.
the horizon.
Yeah, above the horizon. So there's only like 2 planets that are in the 2nd and 5th house. Everything else for him is 7 through 12. So he's a very noticeable human energetically.
Yeah.
He cannot hide. And when people start to realize that he's different, they pick at him, right? It's almost like people going to visit a really cool rock formation. But instead of just admiring the cool rock formation, they start carving into the rock formation and carving their initials, or like, you know what I mean? Like, they start picking at it. Instead of just admiring the beauty and the uniqueness of the rock formation, they go, let me go leave my mark. Let me go see if it's stable, or, you know what I mean? Like, this kind of pick at it and create this wound. And as a mom, like, I can see this in his chart 100%. I see it right there. It's right there. His mind square to his wound. It's right there. And I can't do anything about it except encourage him to work through the inner tension that just showed up. Right. And to know that he is trusting his intuition with Neptune there. He is the knowledgeable one with Jupiter there. And he is weird with Aquarius. Like, it is all accurate, and there's nothing wrong. It's just the tension where he has to understand, with his mind involved in this square, He has to understand that he has to be kind about his approach and steadfast and stable. And that, dude, people live differently. And the fact that you can't get out of your own head and recognize that your way isn't the only way. Like, he was
Yeah.
more blown away that these kids couldn't wrap their head around the fact that there's other ways to live.
Yeah. But is it that uncommon where you guys live to be homeschooled?
Not, not that I thought. And I was just looking actually at one of the homeschool groups just posted the numbers of homeschoolers in the last 5 years and like the national numbers of how many people in the state and how many people nationally. And homeschooling has definitely risen tremendously,
Yes. Yeah.
especially in the last couple of years since the pandemic and all that. So
Yeah.
we, I wouldn't say it's that uncommon, but maybe for these particular kids it was, and they
Yeah.
really just genuinely didn't know
Yeah.
anybody like that. But he was really blown away. He goes, so they were really stuck on this testing thing. So in America, we take what's called an ACT, and it's a
Yeah.
test in high school to show where you're at with certain levels. And then you use that number from your ACTs to try to get into colleges. Okay.
Yeah.
I have gone, so for those of you that don't know, I have gone to 6 colleges and I went to college for 11 years. Okay. So I started out of high school and then I went to college as a University of Wisconsin. I went to a university school. Then I changed and went to a technical college, Northeastern Wisconsin Technical College. And then my husband moved and joined the Air Force. So I went with him and I went to a community college in Texas, and I went to a university in Louisiana, and I went to a college on the base, and then I went to an internet college for dog training. I've done all the colleges.
Yeah.
I have the bills to prove it.
Yeah.
um, I started out as a traditional student, and then I eventually graduated with a baby in my belly, baby number 2 in my belly. I graduated with Gertie in my belly while as a returning adult, right? So I have all of the college experience. The ACTs are not that big of a deal, and they don't determine shit for your success in life. And the kids at this camp were blown away that he hadn't taken his ACTs and that he didn't know what they were. And like, they were genuinely concerned for his mental health. And like, he was genuinely concerned for the fact that they couldn't think outside of what the government was telling them.
Yeah.
That's what made me like, oh, like
Yeah.
he gets it.
So all of these kids he did not know any of them from
Did not know any
before.
of them. They were
No.
all from outside of his normal
Yeah.
realm and all attending this particular camp where
Yeah.
kindness is supposed to be like the thing. Like, there's the whole theme of the camp is like kindness and respect. So it was really just this year that it kind of got really, I don't know if you want to call it yucky or what label you want to give it,
Yeah.
but it got a little rougher for him.
Yeah.
But I do also see with, Pluto trekking through Aquarius, right? Like, it is going to wake that stuff up. And of course, Saturn in Aries is, on his Mars. So Saturn is in Aries right now, and it's on his natal Mars. So he is going to have some stir the pot kind of energy when it comes to changing tradition, right? Like, this is really stirring the kettle and stirring it up is what Mars, Saturn, Aries energy brings to, and it's the 8th house.
Yeah. Do you talk to him, because I know you talk a lot of astrology, to your children, like, and explain, use astrology terminology to explain things? Did you have this conversation with him?
A little bit last night. I was
Yeah.
planning on having more of it today after he got sleep and had a shower.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna have there's a kite festival in town, and we live on Lake Michigan, and they have a kite festival. So we're doing that today, and then this afternoon or evening, him and I are planning, just the two of us, gonna have like a mother-son date. So I will actually show him this so he can have a visual, because I think seeing that Chiron is at 25 degrees Aquarius and his mind is at 25 degrees Taurus, that visual for me is like, oh wow, like, it hurts sometimes to be Aquarian and have these fixed thoughts the way I was raised. And he even told the kids, he said, what do you want me to do about it? I can't go back and go to school. Like I've been homeschooled and this is my life.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is the hard part of Aquarian energy. I spoke to a friend earlier this week about um also like Aquarian energy that she is experiencing, and it's it can be at times it can be very challenging because Aquarius energy it makes you show yourself as more of a unique person to this world. Like you are not as others, you are not the norm so much. You are here to explore other parts, and you're here to show others other parts than the norm
And
and to think
that's,
differently. And that can be very hurtful because it makes you feel like an outsider because you sort of are. You are not like everyone else if you have a lot of Aquarius energy. And especially growing up, that can be really hard to feel outside of the group and to feel different.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what one thing we talked about last night is we have a group of homeschoolers in this. We live in a tiny little town of 2,000 people. And there's quite a few homeschoolers that are his age, and quite a few public schoolers that are his age that have created this little like group of friends of like the weird ones. Like they're just like the weird the weird kids, and they all really like coming out to our farm. They all really respect Elliott. They all have unique eclectic tastes as well. And I told him last night, I said, boy, it sure makes you appreciate your friend group, doesn't it? He said, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Like he really like the gratitude that he started to really see for these, I don't know, like seven or eight, like it's a good group of friends. It's not like
Yeah.
one or two. It's a sizable group of unique weirdos.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And he really, they all are very cool. Like they've been over here a couple times, and to find that in a tiny town in Wisconsin, like that's cool. That's really cool.
Hmm.
So we talked about being grateful and having that, attitude of really appreciating what we've got, and having this experience at camp to show us other perspectives of the world,
Yeah.
and then to show us, wow, I do have it pretty cool. I have a family that appreciates my uniqueness and encourages it. I have friends that appreciate my uniqueness and encourages it. And wow, that's a gift.
Is this making him, is he put off by like going to camp and those kind of things again?
No, in fact, he wants to be the camp leader because he wants to.
Ah,
Yeah, he said, when I was doing camp leading the counseling training, he said one of the counselor guys was sick all week and I had to kind of step up and essentially be a counselor. He's like, I loved that. He loved
okay.
being the
Great.
leader of the younger kids. Look at that
Yeah.
10th house energy and that Leo rising, right?
Oh
Like he
yeah.
loved it. And then when he got with his own group of peers
Yeah.
the next week as a camper, that's when he was like, ugh,
Yeah.
ugh. And I said, did you
Yeah.
tell them what your mom does? He said, Mom, I couldn't even go. I couldn't even begin to explain it.
No.
He's like, I was already too weird. And I was like, that's fine. I'm just curious if it came up. He goes,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know what to say. I was like, tell him I'm a weirdo witch.
That puts spells on the naughty kids. But I think that you said that the other kids seemed like really concerned. I think
Yeah,
it's just that
they were so
children,
concerned.
I I I, I think it's just like they have a certain like they're living in a bubble. Like we are all living in bubbles, but children more so because it's the parents who sort of choose the world for their kids. And if you just see one thing, then everything else becomes so scary. Like for
Yes.
example, if you're just very like into like one religion and you don't really know anything about the other religions, if someone says, "Oh, I'm from this religion," then maybe that person will be like, "What? No, you're not doing well. You're not going to do well in this life." But it's all about like it just goes to show that people are living so much in their bubbles. Like these parents
Yes.
are not expanding these children's minds and like saying that or talking about that people,
Yep.
people make different choices. Some people like to do this, some people like to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess it's just a receipt that everyone is really sort of, I guess, righteous about only their choices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and not accepting the rest.
Well, and that's one of the things I have to explain to Elliot all the time is like you have Uranus at 24-degree Pisces and your mind, Mercury at 25-degree Taurus. It's a almost a perfect sextile. You are a weird, unique thinker. Okay. Like you just like there's there's so much programming in his chart that he has to be a unique individual. And the
Mm.
eighth house energy is the reflection that he gives off and is that he has to help people question their own beliefs, question the
Yeah.
way they think. Uranus and Pisces, man, he is here to help people like almost taser their beliefs, right? Like, is that
Yeah.
really something you believe? Right? I can't even imagine how many seeds of weirdness, which is what I think Aquarius Taurus energy is, seeds of weirdness he planted this weekend or this week at camp.
Yeah.
I said, Elliot, you don't know the impact you left on these people forever. They will always remember the weird kid at camp who was homeschooled and not vaccinated and baked his own food and had a disc golf course. They
Yeah.
will always remember you. They will always remember the whatever Amish person they were calling you, whatever, because you're here to plant these seeds for them, which is so Taurus, right? And bring change and bring them knowledge, which is
Yeah.
this Jupiter and Aquarius, and do it very intuitively and very flowing. He doesn't force it on anybody. He just waits
Yeah.
till they ask him, and then he is very honest. And he says, "Mama, do you not want me to tell you or tell want me to tell people that I'm been not been vaccinated?" I said, "Honey, you tell people what you need to tell them. If you tell them the truth, tell them the truth. Like I don't, I'm not ashamed.
Yeah.
I am a vaccine injured person, and I am
Mm.
very vocal about it. I have lived a life of fucking horrible pain and I figured out a way to heal myself. And just because I heal myself doesn't negate the decades of horrific experiences I went through. And I have children who are vaccine injured because of that, because they
Yeah.
came from me. I don't hide that. I don't put that under a rug. I don't always shine it in a billboard either. I don't
Yeah.
walk around and preach it to everybody and be like, you shouldn't vaccinate. I let people make their own choices and I tell them my story when they ask. But I
Yeah.
don't cram shit down their throat. I have Venus and Aquarius. I value other people's decisions. Cool. You want to go do that with Big Pharma? You have fun. I tried that. It didn't work.
Hmm.
Right. So I think that's what's really awesome. I said, Elliot, you have no idea. You're here to really slowly and very Taurus, very steadily and slowly change society. That's really what Sun, Moon, Mercury in the 10th house really to me is like leaving a reputation and leaving, a legacy of achievements or responsibilities or your public life, right? And so with his identity, he is who he is, man. This is him.
Yeah.
And when he changes, then he'll be that one. And when like he is the mountain. And when the
Yeah.
mountain is the mountain, it's the mountain. You can't argue with it. There's no
Yeah.
arguing with that. And then his moon is right there, so he feels very, very driven to have some kind of responsibility for society, right? And to emotionally be very kind with people.
Mm.
And he has such emotional maturity. And he said that to me on the way home, you know, maybe these people just didn't even know that they were interested in the kind of life I have. Maybe they were kind of jealous. And I was like, look at that
Yeah.
eighth house energy. They might have been
Mm.
a little bit jealous that you have this unique eclectic drive to play and have a fun life that isn't one that is regimented by the government and the rules of school. You have
Yeah.
Mars
I
and
mean,
Venus and Aries.
yes, I think that again with this, like them being worried for him, I don't think they were worried for him. I think they
No,
were intrigued and maybe like, well, you get to do that. And how mo a lot of people work is that you when you hear about something that's different and you're like, oh, this he's not following these rules that my parents have told me that I need to follow. Why
exactly.
does he get away with that? How
Uh-huh.
come? No, no, no. You shouldn't get away with that. But at the end, um. I guess, like you said, has raised a lot of questions for them that they can bring up at home. And it's just great. It's just great to expand people's minds and think that life doesn't have to look in just one. one way. And I guess then their parents can explain to them why they made the decisions that they made for them.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's what I said. I said, dude, you have no idea the seeds of change you planted in these 8 teenagers' minds. And he said there was a couple teenagers, so there was mostly like 2 or 3 that were really like coming down on him and like really like making fun of him and belittling him. And then there was like 2 or 3 that were like, so I'm really curious. Like, tell me how this
Yeah.
goes. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, they were genuinely wondering, like, huh, what does your life look like? And I did explain too. I said, Elliott, you have to know that Taurus is a very tangible energy. And then he's got Saturn and Virgo in the second house. So he has a lot of, he carries a lot of energy that is very tangible and physical. So the
Mhm.
friends he has locally have met him physically. They've come out to our farm physically. They've been in our physical presence, and they see that while yes, we live uniquely, we're not that weird. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different,
Yeah.
but we still have air conditioning and a washer and dryer, and like we still like live with society's, electric and stuff, right? We're not totally off grid and peeing in a hole in the backyard, although,
Yeah.
occasionally that happens. But his friends that he has locally have been in his energy tangibly. And at camp, he was trying to describe it to people who hadn't
Mm.
physically been in his realm. And
Yeah.
that is where that Aquarius Neptune, Aquarius Chiron, Aquarius Jupiter shows up, where it's so weird they couldn't wrap their heads around it, right? Like it was intangible to them, and it was
Yeah.
incomprehensible that somebody would what? Wait, what? And they kept asking him, "Do you have a washer? Do you have a washer and dryer? Do you use a
Hmm.
washing board?" And he's like, "Well, so what if we did use a washing board? But no."
Mm.
But like, so he would question everything they brought up. He's
Yeah.
like, would it be that big of a deal to you if we did use a washboard? Like, no, we don't. But like,
Yeah.
who cares if we did?
Yeah.
So I love that he made them question right back,
Yeah.
right? Like they'd give it to him and then he'd throw it back right away. And he was stable about it, and he was nice and like bull like about it. But I could tell when he got home, I could tell his heart hurt, and I think he definitely needs to cry. But of course, that Taurus moon is going to take at least 3 or 4 days. Always,
Yeah.
right? You guys, if there's a Taurus moon person in your life, they're going to cry about something like a week after the thing happened. And if you're quick like me with a Gemini moon, you're going to be like, "What? What are we crying for?" "Oh, last week." "Oh, yeah." Like I've
Yeah.
so
Takes
far
time to
moved on.
process.
I've so far moved on. And I imagine with your Capricorn moon, it takes you a little longer.
It does.
Yeah,
It
at least
does.
a
Yeah.
day or two.
Yeah, for sure. And especially being in the 12th house, it takes a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
Even like even, even a little bit longer
You have to find it. You have to go
again.
find the
Yeah.
feelings. Wait, they're in there
Yeah.
somewhere. I can feel them.
Yeah.
Where are
Yeah.
they? What are they? Oh God, what's it going to be?
I swear I saw it.
I was hanging out with my brother the other day. He was over here helping with some disc golf stuff, and he was in the kitchen. He was just about to say goodbye. We were talking, and I'm cutting some food for lunch, and out of nowhere, I felt a lump in my throat, and that is a clear sign that I have to cry. And I'm just like I was feeling good, and I was doing great, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, and it literally showed up out of nowhere. And I said goodbye to him, and I looked at my kids, and they're like, "What?" I was like, "I have to cry, and I don't know why." And I just started crying, but I was not in any kind of sad mood. I was not in any kind of like upset energy. It just
Yeah.
like came out of nowhere. And I was like, what a 12th house moon thing to do.
Yeah, you have a Gemini moon 12th house, so it might come out of nowhere because you don't know where it came from, but you will be vocal about it.
Yeah. And as soon as I
And
told the kids that I needed to cry, that was like the door that opened the tears. And I started crying. They're like, what? I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. I was fine. And then I got mad because I was crying and I didn't know why I was crying. I thought this was stupid that I was. It lasted all of 4 minutes, but then the lump went away and we were fine. And even Gertie was like, well, that was a weird rain shower. Just blew in. It's like a
yeah,
one little cloud of rain that blew in and then it blew out. I love when she makes random comments like that. well, that was a weird rain shower. Yes, I know. I'm aware. Thank you. And this is where knowing a chart or studying a chart can help you in life, right? It doesn't necessarily make it, I don't know, easier to deal with sometimes, right? Like he had to deal with this very real um, conflict, right? Seventh house energy is conflicts and alliances. And he has some friends he's aligned with. And these are obviously some people that are of equal age and that he had conflict with. And yes, I can understand that, but he still has to go live that. And I still have to be the mom to watch that. And like I can see it
Yeah,
in on his chart, and then to see it in real life, I'm like, oh, like I know.
of course.
And like, let's go make some food and talk about it. Right. So knowing the chart, and I just wanted to share with people because this is a great example of like being a mom who has studied her kid's chart, knows the energy fairly well. I didn't know exactly the squares and stuff, but I knew this Aquarius energy was there. I knew where his wound was. I knew where his big expansive energy was. And
Mm,
I know where he nebulously kind of can fit in and out with people. And usually he fits in. And this time it was one that he didn't quite fit all the way. And that
yeah.
definitely hurt his heart. And he does need to understand it and take some time to process it. So I think he's going to do that over the next few days. And my job is to continue to provide the information, right? That Jupiter energy in Aquarius. Let me give you the weird information. Here, I'll show you it with your birth chart. I'll show you it with human design. Let's go. How else can I show you and teach you the weird information that you need to then heal that Chiron wound and trust your intuition? That's really what his chart is demanding. And luckily, he's got a mom who's got a 22-degree Venus who values this shit in Aquarius. Let me help you value your big, expansive weirdness and help you heal that wound that you came here to embrace and to heal from. And in reality, it strengthens his resolve and strengthens his mind to not follow the sheep, right? To be the black sheep or the rainbow sheep and do his own thing. And so that's what I love about his Taurus Mercury in the 10th house of like, oh, I don't want to look at how stuck in society they already are at 16 years old. Like he was bothered by
Yeah.
that. So it was a nice camp overall, especially when he was the one that could be the leader, which is where he thrives, and with the little kids, where he could play and he can be his unique self. And the little kids look at him and go, oh, ooh.
Yeah. I think that for sure was very good for him to experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So this is a perfect example of how astrology can help, where you don't have to feel bad about yourself. You don't have to feel yucky. You can just feel the feelings, let them go, understand the reason for them, and then move on and know thyself.
Yeah.
Right. And he does know thyself. He knows himself well. And to be able to reinforce that and help him through that, it was lovely. And now we have an even more emotionally mature 16-year-old boy in the world. Yay.
Yeah.
We need more of those. We need more
We
emotionally
do.
mature teenage boys. And I'm so grateful to be able to raise one of them at least. Got another one coming up in a couple
Well
years,
done.
but that one's
Yeah.
that little Aries man. Well, thanks
Yeah.
for listening to my story today.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it was fun. And I love to let people know how this works, because this is exactly why I do readings for other people and why we do astrology and teach people astrology, so you can understand life's lessons just like this. In reality, here we go. This is how this works. This is how this is showing up in real time. It's almost like watching the weather, as it happens, as it's raining, and you're understanding, oh, this is what that green rain cloud on the radar looks like. Okay, like you're
Mm.
understanding the reality of how that energy shows up and how to work through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well put.
Well, thank you everybody for listening, and we hope this was helpful for you, and tune in next time. We'll talk to you guys later.
See you next week. Bye.
Thank you for joining us this week. Be sure to like and support the show by sharing with a friend or joining us on Patreon. And you can buy us a tea or coffee and financially support us. Thank you so much. It's so appreciated.